Joining me now is South Carolina Democratic Congressman Jim Clyburn. He, of course, is the House Majority Whip. Congressman, it's great to have you back on the show. Thank you so much for your time. We have a lot of ground to cover here. I do want to start with your response to your Republican colleagues, perhaps, who are criticizing this committee, this January 6th committee, as a partisan exercise. Would you support the appointment of Liz Cheney or an Adam Kinzinger to the committee using one of the Speaker's unilateral picks?
Thank you very much for having me. Yes, I would. I think both of them are Republicans. Both of them are conservative Republicans. And both of them are real about what happened on January 6th. So I think that the Speaker would do well to demonstrate bipartisanship by appointing one of them to the committee. And I would hope that my Republican friends will support the Speaker in that and will appoint the folks that they can appoint as well. But this is a very serious issue. This country is, in fact, a pretty strong democracy, but it's fragile. And we saw that on January 6th. And we have got to be aware of that. And we need to have bipartisan participation in doing what is necessary to shore up this democracy so that we can continue our pursuit of a more perfect union. It's not perfect, we know that, but we can work together to make it more perfect.
I know that you have advocated for Mississippi Democrat Benny Thompson, currently head of the Homeland Security Committee, to chair this committee. Make the case for us. Why do you think Thompson would serve well in that role?
Because, first of all, Thompson has a background that is very good for this. He was a small town mayor. He was a county commissioner all before coming here to Congress. And so he knows what it is to work with law enforcement people. He, as chair of the Homeland Security Committee, has demonstrated that he can find bipartisanship on the committee. He and Congressman Katko did a great job, I thought, pulling together a piece of legislation that we passed in the House with a lot of Republican support. I think there were 25 Republicans voting for it and fell because of partisanship in the Senate. So when you demonstrate that and you've got a background and experiences that support it, that's why I think he would be a good candidate. But it's up to the Speaker. I'm going to support whoever she appoints.
Let's move on to police reform for a moment. You probably just heard my colleague there talking about his interview with Karen Bass, Representative Karen Bass. It appears that the talks, according to our reporting at NBC, are breaking down over infighting between law enforcement groups, specifically police unions and sheriff's associations. First of all, what do you know about the status of these talks? Do you think there is any path to getting both of these groups on board? And where do you see a possibility for compromise if there is one?
Well, I think there is a chance that we will get this done. I have been talking with Congresswoman Bass. I have talked with Senator Tim Scott. I've talked to sheriffs, and I know that there is a strong sentiment in the Senate and in the House and among sheriffs to do something about this, to find common ground, to deliver, as I like to say, a half loaf rather than no loaf for the whole loaf. We need to make movement here because we need to say to these communities that law enforcement is there to enforce the law, not to be punitive. And that's what a lot of communities feel. And I think finding a real good compromise on this legislation will speak very loudly to the fact that communities and law enforcement can get on the same page and can find common ground. And we ought to do that. It's not going to be all that I want, and it should not be all that they want. But it should be something that we can all agree upon, and so that we can keep moving this country forward.
I know the House is set today, sir, to vote on a bill to remove Confederate statues from public display in the Capitol. That was a bill that was actually passed in a previous Congress, but as you're probably well aware, it stalled in the Republican-controlled Senate at the time. Why is this bill so important, especially after what happened on January the 6th? And do you think it has a better shot this time around in the Senate?
Well, I would hope so. When I see emblems from the Confederacy, I think the flag that you're now showing, that's not the Confederate flag. It never was a Confederate flag. That is a battle flag. And I think that so much about history is misrepresented. That flag that you are showing now was offered to the Confederacy, and they refused to accept it. The daughters of the Confederacy would never accept that flag as being their flag. The stars and bars is a totally different flag, and we don't oppose that flag. We do oppose a battle flag. We do oppose people who fought to preserve slavery. John C. Calhoun is a statue that's up here, sent up here by the state of South Carolina. John C. Calhoun died more than a decade before the Civil War ever broke out. So his statue is not here because of the Confederacy. His statue is here because he was the biggest spokesperson in this country in support of slavery. And that's why my state sent him up here. And I think that the current residents, current citizens of South Carolina, I don't think they want slavery. They don't want to honor slavery. And that's exactly what's taking place. So I would love to see the state of South Carolina take the statue out of here. But if they don't, then I want to see us put that statue so far in the basement until they will not be able to gather dust.